Hey everybody, thank you for joining me. So 2021 was an incredible year for the Oculus Quest 2, but I think recently lots of signs are pointing towards next year being very exciting for the next generation of PlayStation VR. So today I think we're going to get into some of the details and a couple of the recent announcements that have really excited me. So the thing that prompted this video in the first place was a clip that's been flying around the internet lately. So Sony have been out demoing their new headset to developers, and what they've been using to demo this is some gameplay on Gran Turismo 7. Now that is very exciting because that is a big hitting game that we did not know was coming to virtual reality. For me, what sells consumers on a particular ecosystem is the big ticket games they can get if they buy into that particular route, and we've had a bit of a dearth of them lately. There hasn't been much coming through that has been really exciting. So the fact that PlayStation are looking at their big games and targeting the VR market is very good news. It was actually big games that kind of carried the original PlayStation VR forwards. So the tech was always quite a long way behind the competition, but they had some really good games. I'm talking the likes of Iron Man, Skyrim, No Man's Sky, some really exciting games that you could play completely in VR. Now that was a really big seller, but will we just find ourselves in the same position as we did with the original PSVR if the tech isn't quite up to snuff? Well, it's looking like that might not be a concern because the leaks coming through are really good. Starting off with the resolution, most leaks are pointing us towards a 2000 by 2040 pixel per eye setup. Now that is nearly 10% higher than what you get with the Quest 2. Admittedly, the Quest 2 isn't the highest resolution headset on the market, but it is really good. It's a very playable experience, and there's a kind of safe little midpoint for resolution that I think they would be very well placed to be slightly above. And to make those screens look even better, we're not talking about LCD screens like you get on the Quest, we're talking about OLED, so we're talking very strong blacks. The real problem with headsets is that the LCD screens are backlit, so you're always getting that light bleed come through and everything feels kind of grey. Anytime you're in a dark situation, maybe you're trying to replicate being in a dark room or a cave or something like that, and it doesn't really feel like you are because it's not dark. It feels lit. Now OLED fixed that because they're able to just light the pixels that you need to light. It gives an unrivaled experience. Field of view we're told to expect is 110 degrees. That is above what we get on the Quest 2, but I take it with a pinch of salt. Lots of these manufacturers pump up their specs on announcement and then under testing they tend to fall slightly lower than that. But I still expect it to be very reasonable. But it's the haptics that really excite me. So we're told to expect the controllers to have the haptic triggers that you get on the new DualSense controllers. That means that resistance is able to be applied correctly as you're pulling down the trigger, and in a VR scene that would greatly add to immersion. Imagine you're doing some sort of archery game, maybe you're pulling on a bow, and as you're pulling you feel that sort of tension building. You could be holding a gun and as you're firing the trigger you can feel it click as you're pulling that button. It'd be so much better than what we currently get on the standard controllers. And many leaks are pointing to those same haptic features being pulled over into the headset itself. We know from leaks that there is a motor in the headset and it looks like that motor would be used for the likes of some sort of rumble feature. That could greatly add to tension in any sort of gaming situation. But I would be concerned that it would be sort of unlifelike because you don't get that kind of feedback just in your head. I'm sure Sony would make it play very well. The DualShock controllers for years have been excellent at rumble and it really has been a valuable part of the ecosystem. Another exciting leak is that it will feature gaze tracking, so there'll be sensors built in that can see where your eyes are pointing. Now there hasn't been any speak of foveated rendering, but to me the only reason that you would build that in is so that you can use foveated rendering. That means games will be able to run more smooth because they will only be rendering the parts that you're actually looking at. That is a really exciting feature and it's something we've seen on recent headsets from the likes of the Vario Aero. That was really good and it made the experience much easier on your PC. Something I was really excited to hear is that Digital Foundry editor Richard Ledbetter recently said that yeah, we've seen some leaked PSVR specs and it looks good, but he has seen PSVR specs that haven't leaked and it's very good. Now, that's awesome. Digital Foundry tend to get an early look in any sort of console release, so I would trust what comes from that site. But one of the biggest factors that are going to make this ecosystem really powerful is the way they're going to be able to optimize their games. So it'd be easy to pit this headset against the likes of the Quest 2. That's a standalone headset and it has to power the game via the technology that's built into the headset itself. Because the PSVR 2 is doing it from the PlayStation 5, it's going to be much more powerful. So it's in fact likely to be targeting the likes of PCVR headsets like the HP Reverb G2. Now the challenge with PCVR headsets is that you're trying to optimize for so many different types of tech, from top-end graphic cards to built-in graphics, from 4 gigs of RAM to 32. There's so many different variations that make it really difficult for a developer to optimize their game smoothly to run on everything. The advantage of the PlayStation 5 is they know exactly the hardware that everyone is going to be running, so it's going to be very simple to make games well optimized for that system. One of the reasons that have made the Quest 2 so dominant this year is that all the game releases have been coming down that route. The reason for that is because so many people have bought into the headset, so there's a big market to sell to. So far, analysts say that the Quest 2 sold around 4 million units. Now the PSVR 1 sold 5 million units, and that was for early adoption. This is the next generation of that tech, and I'm expecting so many more people to buy into it. So it could be a very, very attractive proposition for developers. That means we could see much more games coming through, not just the big tickets from Sony themselves, but external developers bringing really exciting things to the market. Anyway, that's my thoughts. What do you think? Is the PSVR going to be a really big challenger in the coming year? Maybe we'll see some exciting stuff ahead. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this video, do us a favour, press the like button, and if you want to see anything like this in the future, then press the sub button. I'm on the chase to 1,000 subs, and every sub is a big help to me. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.